Greetings of peace, love, and harmony. I am mandisamosi, and thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to share 13 things I wish I knew before I began my spiritual journey. If you have been following me thus far, I have shared everything with you from my perspective on God and our relationship that we have with money to hitting on things like what happened to me in my Vipassana meditation course and giving you some tips and gems along the way as well. Well, today I'm going to go a little bit more in depth about my kind of things I wish I knew that you can perhaps get inspired on as well. One thing I will state though is that I'm going to go through the first 5 things in a bit more depth. The last 8 things I will list. However, I will have a free ebook in the description for you to link to know the breakdown of each of the things. The thing I want you all to know is that I am a writer. Like I write poetry, I write prose, I write. And so I want to get you familiar with me as a writer. I want to get you to be familiar with me as a writer. And I think this is a really great way to do that, to offer something for free so that you can get used to listening to and hearing from mandisamosi. So here we go. The first thing I wish I knew before starting my spiritual journey is that spiritual journey equals healing journey. You're not different at all, okay? And for some reason, when I started my spiritual practice, I thought it was all about developing these external relationships with spirit, these relationships with crystals, rituals, etc. I didn't know that by going inward and developing my spiritual gifts, that meant I would encounter everything else that was inside me as well. For some reason, I expected like butterflies and roses. And our gifts can sometimes show up as showing us areas that we need to heal from, especially when it comes to mental health. This doesn't necessarily look like someone having schizophrenia or major depressive disorder like I have been diagnosed with. It amplifies the issues that we have with control, codependency, and anger. If we're not careful, we can cause great harm to ourselves and others when we're starting our spiritual journey and we're not being honest with ourselves about where we need to heal. And we're thinking that I can just be spiritual. I don't have nothing to heal from. We good. I'm good. Everybody good. Everybody has room to grow. Did you know that even like enlightened people, like I had this also, this is a sidebar, because I've been kind of under this impression, like, oh, once I get to this level of enlightenment, I'll be done with my life and I can just be ready to transition, become an ancestor, or if I'm lucky, I don't have to return back here. I can get all my lessons this time around. Did you know that enlightened people, like especially in Buddhist traditions, they still live for years. They may reach enlightenment at 35 and still live to be 80. Anyway, the second thing I would do was prioritize healing whatever relationship I have/had with God. Because I personally grew up angry with God. I was a child who was experiencing a lot of trauma. And I prayed and I prayed and prayed for that trauma to be relieved. Until one day I realized that God was not coming or changing my circumstances. My hope turned to anger. It was a silent rage that would be with me for years. I had to learn the hard way that there are no saviors and that our spirits guide, they do not save. And if we know and understand this about spirit, we can accept this when it comes to people as well and not give our power away to spiritual leaders or even sisters or brothers that come into our lives. Like we can recognize people. We can even recognize the God in people and still not expect them to save us. Because we are our own saviors. I am my own savior. You are your own savior. We have tools to support and support systems such as God, ancestors, angels, Orisha, who can support and guide us. However, they cannot save us. And I had to learn it the hard way that our spirit people can even put people in our lives to assist and guide us. And we can say in our lives, they're just a guide, they're our blah, 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 they're not our savior. But the way in which we act towards them can lead us to having them be our savior, or looking at them and viewing them as our savior. Like it's going to come from them. Like I had this, we can even be afraid to do things unless we have the approval of someone else. Not even listening to our own guidance of our own higher selves. Like I said before, many times I've been in a cult situation where it was like this culture of waiting for permission for the teacher or for the leader, because all guidance came from her, right? The spirits they talked through her, right? And she had the clearest communication towards the spirits. And so like anything else that we may feel like we're receiving from our Ori, from our higher self, from our dreams, from whatever, it was this energy in this culture that felt like we could not move on our greatest internal desires without that approval or permission. And if I had fully healed that relationship with God, my anger, my expectant savior especially, I would have been able to embrace that portion a little bit more. So it's very important to heal your relationship with God. Even if you think you don't have a relationship with God, you don't believe in the Most High, why don't you believe? Is it from a trauma space, or are you just very intellectual with it? What is the reason? Like really be with that and sit with that. Number 3, studying nature does not equate to studying self. I'm going to say that again. Studying nature does not equate to studying self. Did you know that like in Vipassana tradition, like anything, like monks will suggest for beginner meditations to start inside the building before going outside to meditate? And the reason being is because we may not be able to tell the difference between feeling our breath on our top lips or feeling our breath going in and out our nostrils. We may not be able to tell the difference from the breath or versus the wind blowing, or this natural sensation sensation that we may be feeling on our body, as opposed to something we may be experiencing in the elements. We have to build up that strength and that mental strength to really know the difference. Nature can only show parallels to us. It cannot give an internal holistic picture to everything that is going on within us. And I'm not saying staying inside by any means, because I still go outside, I still do walks, hikes, still sit in nature, all of that good jazz. But I am saying do not let that be your only time where you're being with yourself. Okay? Nature time is extremely important. You can notice parallels, like I said. But don't let that be your only time that you're spending with yourself. Spend some good time with yourself inside. Explore your inner world, your inner self. Meditate with your mind. Observe your mind inside as well. Have some moments where you're inside. Learn yourself and know yourself above everything else. Number 4, know your shadows, but do not dwell there. Okay? I love Carl Jung's work. I'm a huge philosophy, psychology type of girl. Like, I'm a huge metaphysics, quantum physics type of girl. Huge. I'm big on that. Like, big. Like my intro to spirituality and my desire to go deep into it is because I love studying and reading intellectual works by Carl Jung, or studying quantum physics. It's because of that. So when I started my journey, I became obsessed with the shadow and my shadow self. I had a deck that focused solely on shadow work. I was obsessed with reading the energy of my shadow and teaching people about their own shadows. Yes, it has a place, but this shouldn't be the primary focus. Like, I was even a part of a sister circle cult that will focus so much on shadows that it barely left time to focus on the good in me. I felt like a walking piece of, you know what, I have stress in my shadows, this thing, that thing, but how long do I have to study it until I realize I have, like how long do you study your shadows until you realize that you brought light to them and that you've integrated those negative parts to yourself? Like, how long, Mandisa? This constant spinning in circles about my perceived forever faults that just would not go away. Like, I'm forever just ain't gonna be. It was the source of a lot of my mental dis-ease, right? And so I would know myself. Like, you have to know yourself, know your shadows, but just don't dwell there. Number 5, there's no perfect crystal. And looking the part doesn't mean being the part. What I'm really trying to say here is that I don't need to buy anything to be spiritual. It's not an aesthetic. I don't have to look a certain way. If I was a jeans and t-shirt type of girl, I could be a jeans and t-shirt type of girl if I wanted to. Like, y'all been on this channel for I don't care how long. Every single time you see me with some white top on, or maybe some colorful top, something on, I'm not trying to be all possessed to you. Like, you might get a cute red lip, some mascara, and a little bit of eye makeup. That's probably about all I can give you right now. But there used to be, like, even now, I just be like, you know? So it's just like, anyway, let me stay on topic. It's not about wearing, like, the perfect print or head wraps. Like, you really don't have to look a certain way to be spiritual. And just because somebody looks like what you think a spiritual person, just because somebody doesn't look like what you think a spiritual person should look like, that doesn't mean they're not spiritual. This journey is an internal one. And while we're traveling this internal journey, it is completely natural to be drawn to different things. You become more conscious with what you consume and what you put on your body. It's also a consumption. Like, what I put on my body, the things that I wear, is also a consumption. My style may change, but this urge to consume everything that we feel is a part of our new life can be distracting and can overtake our ability to actually develop spiritually and to heal. I used to cope and rationalize this by saying, as long as I'm buying things to help me, it's okay. As long as I'm buying things associated with my path, it's okay. But too much water can kill you. Too much of a good thing could turn into a bad thing. Okay? So it's not okay to go in debt or to forego responsibilities to purchase something that I feel that I absolutely need for this journey. If I needed it for this journey, it would come to me. 1, 2, if it was absolute need, then I would have an overflow of abundance to have it, to spend on it. You know what I'm saying? So buying spiritual supplies with that energy is dangerous anyway. It causes us to infuse our new spiritual tools that we are supposed to be using for our liberation with toxic traits that still reside in us, be it fear, control, and or addiction. So be very mindful of how you purchase things, especially your spiritual things. If you're buying a crystal that amplifies energy with the energy of greed or lack or fear or control or whatever, and you taking that crystal in your home, you've exchanged energy, which is money, currency, money, to get this energy, a crystal, which has its own properties, energies, and you've done it in that energy. Come on, think about it. It is that deep. And in the beginning, I did not think it was that deep at all. I'm gonna be very real with y'all. I was just like, oh, I want that, I want that, I want that. Like, I would do a lot of things, unhealthy things, because I come from a family of hoarders, like women that love to shop. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not shopping for shoes or this or that anymore. So this is good. This is helping me. It's also, I'm replacing one bad habit with something else that I'm calling it good. That's not help. I'm doing a crutch, building another crutch. And I'm playing with spirit, which makes it dangerous. So, that is the 5 things that I'm going to go in depth with. The next 8 things I'm just going to list. And like I said before, click the link in the description for a free ebook that will break all of these things down, including some anecdotes. I'm also going to include poetry to just let you know so you get familiar with me. And so that you can know all these facts that are important when you're on this journey. Number 6, out of all the modalities to practice, meditation is most important. Mind matters most. Remember that. Number 7, this is not the path towards good vibe only. It's called growing pains because it hurts. Number 8, there is an ebb and flow. Number 9, the ego is not the enemy all the time. Number 10, it's okay to have boundaries with your tribe. Number 11, white supremacist mindset and internalized racism hinders spiritual growth and healing. I'm going to say that one again. Number 11, white supremacist mindset and internalized racism, because internalized racism is real. You can be a black person and be racist towards black people. Yes, you can. And that hinders spiritual growth and healing. Black people can have white supremacist mindset. It's a mindset. You don't have to be white. But I will go through that in the document. 12 is clean up. Not just your house. You know what I'm talking about, clean up. Number 13, last but not least, everything is energy. Everything. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate the love and support that I'm receiving. I pray that you continue. Again, please click the link in the description to download your free ebook. I'm grateful that you are here. I will continue to send some encouraging words and some Monday motivations and just all of those things. There's a lot of great things to look for in the future because this is what really I've always wanted to do, and now I have the time and spaciousness to do it. I'm just going to do it without fear of who's watching, or if nobody watches, I'm just going to show up and continue to do it. So thank you for showing up. As always, share it, like, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Peace.